Hello, welcome all to the second day and the last day of the STAR Symposium. Thank you for being here at this hour. I know it's early, but well, thank you very much. This is the second and the last day. I have to remember that we are going to have like several roundtables. We are going to start right now with the STARS roundtable. Then after that, there's going to be like here a session, and then another session of the workshop policy for those that are invited in this closed event in the room next to this one, right here. No? And then after that, we will have another roundtables, and at the end, the keynote of Nerea Calvillo with Laura Benitez as a respondent. No? And after that, we will be done. Thank you very much. So let's start with the first roundtable, the STARS roundtable. Thank you very much. So I will ask the participants to come to the stage, and while we are also getting to the stage, I just want to remind you. Let's go, please. I just want you to explain two things, to remind you two things that we are recording all of this, and this is going to be online in a few days. Okay. And also, there's going to be a special issue of the Arnold Journal with all the main texts that are going to be submitted to the conference. No? So let's start with the STARS roundtable. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, as you know, this STARS Symposium is a symposium that reflects on the STARS program, but also on specifically the STARS in the City project that we are all involved, no? And so we will have a couple of questions to ask you, but before that I would like to present, each one of you to be able to present the regional STARS center that you have been dealing with through this project, and also the different agents that are involved in that, because they're also an example of how STARS work in the sense of the values and the ideas that are behind that. No? So we will start with, I want to present each one of you before you, after your, when it's your time to explain a little bit about the different institutions that are involved. No? So we will start with Christophe de Jaeger. He's an art historian and curator with a specialization in contemporary art and collaborative practice bridging art and research. In 2009, he founded GLUON, an elementary force uniting artists and researchers to cultivate artistic endeavors exploring science and technology. GLUON facilitates artists' residencies within corporations and research institutions. The nexus between Brussels, a cosmopolitan hub, and Europe is integral to his work, and as his emphasis on engaging the youthful and diverse young generations of this vibrant city. So let's go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for this introduction. I had an image with me about a project that we did, because I think it would be interesting not to go too metaphorical, but to really show what we did with the STARS project. It was a collaboration between GLUON, the STARS program, and Innoviris. The people are present here also. This is the innovation agency in Brussels. So we did a collaboration, and that was very important for the success of it. And we decided to work on topics related to the innovation agenda of Brussels. And food is a very important topic within this innovation agenda. And with GLUON, we had always been working on digital technologies, on generative AI and so on, and food was something new to work on. And if you look at the history of art, there was always a connection with food. If you look at the still lifes of the Spanish or the Italians or the Flemish in the late Baroque, it's really beautiful. There was always a connection between arts and food. Now you will wonder, within STARS, what can you do with food? And so we did an open call where we would challenge people to think about the future of our food systems. And there are different strands in this food world that I didn't know. But on the one hand, you have eco-modernists. These are people that really believe that technology will change our food system and that it is important that we invest in different technologies to have a more ecological life. So they believe in aquaculture, they believe in precision farming. There's one writer who is symbolic for that. He's called Georges Maubiot, Genesis he has written, and he really believes that the food that is grown in labs, that this will be the future, and that we don't need farms anymore. Rem Kool has his also on this side. He refers to food production also without farms. He refers to the Westlands, the greenhouses in the Netherlands where you create pineapples in a very artificial environment. So this is a little bit the eco-modernist strand within this food world. And then you have the people that revolt against it. And the Future Farmers are one of them. It's a collective of artists that is led by Amy Franceschini. She's from San Francisco. And she really connected with the activist farmers on the outside, on the outskirts of Brussels, in Pajottenland. And they wanted to make a point that farming in a very regenerative way is very important for the future. And it's not all about technology. And they say that people should be more connected again with their food, and they should be aware where their food comes from. And for this, they created this boat. It's the apple ship, Appel. It's a cry out in French. And it navigates between Pajottenland and the belly of the city, and it brings biofood, so healthy food, from the outskirts to the center, and it's then distributed towards cultural institutions, towards hospitals, and so on. So this was a project where activist artists connected with activist farmers, and they also showed new ways to the city of Brussels to transport food to the center of the city. Because at this moment, all the farmers, they work individually, and they have their own trucks to bring it to the center of the city, but it could be done in a much more sustainable way through an electrical boat, and all the farmers connect together, and then it goes to the city, to the center of the city. And then you have like this thinking about how was it in the past, how was food distributed between the farmers and the citizens, and that was by early markets in the morning. And it's the goal now that after the winter, the boat will again be on the water, and we will organize these early markets and then connect the farmers really with the Brussels citizens. It's also an artistic platform, so there were screenings on the boat. We had radio programs that spread the message of the future farmers and so on. So it was a wonderful project, not very digital, but it could be a comment also within STARTS on digital technology.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, now it's time for Veronika Liebl. She's the Arts Electronica Director of European Cooperation and the Managing Director of its Festival Prix Exhibition Department. And for over 10 years, she has been involved in programming and the production of collaborative programs with partners from the arts, science, and industry, and launched and completed numerous European projects, such as the STARTS Prize and the European Artificial Intelligence Lab. Furthermore, she serves as a member of the City of Linz Culture Council, the Executive Board of the Linz UNESCO City of Media Arts, and the Content Innovation Council of the Frankfurt Books Fair's Arts Plus program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me again. Good morning, everyone. I'm actually taking a bit of a different hat today, as I was speaking much more about the individual art and science projects yesterday, and I think today I brought an example. Yeah, you see already the picture of our university endeavors and collaborations in the last years. One which demonstrates a bit more also the possibility we have as STARTS regional centers, but also using STARTS methods in a systematic change. I really firmly believe that if we want to overcome the often very fragmented efforts, the very, very also unique and singular efforts in bridging art and sciences, we really need to embed structurally also art and science methodologies and interdisciplinary methodologies within higher education, and most preferably, of course, also primary and secondary education. And we have stepped into such an endeavor within the last 3 years now in Linz in our little ecosystem, and maybe a bit of background also on the city of Linz. Originally, we were a very heavy industry city, steel driven, chemistry driven, and in '79 the city administration decided to devote really to the digital and now also very green transformation through the means of arts and creativity. By installing or by investing significantly in institutions like us Electronica, but also other institutions, they had kicking off a process where they really created a huge creative ecosystem, also the foundation of a lot of transdisciplinary faculties within the university, and very much also the creative sector at large. If we now zoom forward to the year 2021, where the ministry decided to open a fourth technical university in Austria, they really specifically decided to choose Linz based on the history and knowledge also of interdisciplinary and arts-driven community. It showcases also what these long investments in arts and science can also change on a systematic level in the university sector. And we have been tasked or privileged to work with this now called Interdisciplinary Transformation University in Linz. We are setting up summer schools. We have also developed a fall term with them. You see here the students last year together with the Federal Minister for Education, the mayor and so on. So it's politically also very, very established. And the concept for us was quite simple, to bring actually the many disciplines together needed to reflect the diversity in digital transformation, also from robotics, biotechnology to law, economics, of course, media arts and creativity, and so many more. And I'm not saying that this is the model everyone in this room should follow. I'm saying really there is a momentum for STARTS regional centers also to foster the skills needed, foster also skills of experimentation, of openness, of curiosity, of this encounter we need also in arts and science to allow ourselves a process of maybe even failure, but a process where you don't necessarily know already the end result of things. You also allow for a mode of collaboration, a multimodal way of collaborations. Those are exactly the skills needed to overcome also 21st century skills. And I think many of our institutions do have the competencies already. So we do this on many levels, mostly I think in our situation here in the field of secondary education, and STARTS regional centers really have a momentum currently, a pivotal role also of maybe structurally growing here collaborations and programs with the higher education sector.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting. Okay, now it's time to move to Rosanna Di Nuzzo. Rosanna Di Nuzzo is an independent project designer and manager, currently collaborating with MIT Digital Culture Center in Milan, overseeing research and innovation projects. She specializes in social and cultural innovation, education, inclusion, and digital transformation. Since 2019, she has led 3 regional STARTS centers projects as an innovation catalyst, fostering collaboration between art, science, and technology to drive sustainable innovation. Her work is dedicated to empowering individuals and societies through interdisciplinary strategies.
Wow, a lot of things. So, I work for MIT, the Digital Art and Culture Center in Milano, that is an interdisciplinary institution itself, because we work with artists and technology. And we approached the STARS in 2019, so becoming a regional STARTS center. So we start working with artists, institutions, organizing residencies. But we realized very soon that we need to work parallelly also to create in Lombardia, in Milano, an ecosystem that could support this kind of collaboration, because institutions that days were not so used to work to understand this kind of collaboration. So we started involving, okay, first industries. So we engaged the biggest industrial association of Lombardia. We managed also to receive additional funding from them to support 10 artists matching with the local industries. But then we realized we had also to work on the research scientific side of this play. So we start working with the Polytechnic of Milano, with Human Technopole in Milano, and with Area Science Park of Trieste, that then become our stable partner, also supporting us financially and the artists in this kind of collaboration. This is the biggest industrial park of Italy, and they have huge resources, facilities, technologies, and they are very keen on this kind of collaboration. But then we realized it was not still enough. So in Stars in the City, we decided also to work with the local institution with the ideas also to bring the STARS approach within the regional lines of programming and funding. So we realized as a main activity of STARS in the City, this design thinking session with 30 people, 15 from Regione Lombardia, from different departments, culture, innovation, also the managing authority of the structural funds, and on the other side, involving other 15 people from arts, science, universities, and other institutions. And so we try to understand together how to bring the STARS approach on the territory, in the regional, so just to accomplish totally our mission as a regional STARS center. And then we managed to, because recently we had this news that the current call that is addressed are researchers, it's addressed to innovation. The people that participated to this design thinking decided to include as criteria of priority evaluation the integration of culture and arts. So for us, it was a good result. So yes, for us, collaborating with the stakeholders of the territory was, since the beginning, very key. And also together with them, we always had shaped the challenges, asking them, the artists, to work in. And in STARS in the City, we decided to work on the topic of the city, using data from the city and the AI to try to inspire new policies. So we had a local challenge based on Milano with the idea to use the data to understand the lack of, we quoted Italo Calvino, the invisible city, so the invisible Milano, so to understand the desires, the dreams of people, and also to inspire new governances of the city. And on the other hand, we worked on the topic of the city as urban mining, so as urban mines, as possible mines of advanced waste, so how to use this waste in circular process to promote sustainability, and also to maybe try to create new artificial materials and minerals to continuously feed the technology and the AI itself. So that was our role in this project.
Thanks. Well, we get into this idea of ecosystem, no, and the role that each one of us has in the context of and the role of within the ecosystem. So that's something to get up. Now it's time we're gonna move to Jurij Krpan from Jurij Krpan founded Kapelica gallery for contemporary and investigative art in 1995. That's quite a long time, and has been its senior curator since then. He has curated national and international exhibitions, including the Slovenian Pavilion at the 50th Venice Biennale. Since 2012, he's been the artistic director of the Krešnikova Institute, supporting art research labs Biocena and Rampa. Krpan integrates art with innovation for sustainable development and is Slovenia's smart specialization ambassador. He joined Slovenia National Council of Culture in 2019 and became its president in 2024, lecturing globally on the Kapelica Gallery. Thank you.
Yes, it's almost 30 years now, and since the beginning we are into investigating how technology impacts individuals and society as a whole. And in early 2000, we started developing some production facilities around the gallery because we understood that we cannot just wait for artists that they come with their finished work. So we decided that also collaborating with scientific platforms and other institutions is kind of precarious for us because we are always waiting for their capacities being available. So we started building our own. So we built these 3 laboratories where we actually allow artists to research and to develop their artworks together with scientists and engineers that are collaborating. We also employed 1 scientist, which is not very usual for an artistic platform. But with that, we got a person who is speaking a different language, and our access to other scientific collaborators was much easier. In all these years, we developed a very critical and proactive vision of what might technologies bring to humanities. And in one moment, we decided that we need to convey the artistic messages beyond the bubble of the art world. And this is how we enter. Actually, we also helped the STARTS program got its life when we were campaigning in Brussels, going to European Parliament and so on and so on. And when it comes, we had this possibility to interact directly with the people who are making technologies, who are developing technologies, and also with scientists who are inventing different building blocks for the technologies. And every residency we have, and we had it 4 so far, aim to contribute something from the non-opportunistic point of view, and stemming from the imaginary worlds that artists are developing. We are pushing these innovations like a positive utopias into in front, so that what we firmly believe is that just making critical observations about the world we're living in, it's simply not enough, and that we need to come up with some ideas that have this potentiality to allow people to see, to reflect our position from that imaginary worlds, And this is how our projects in STARTS framework are looking like, and also what we developed and we are developing now. It's a kind of methodology of how to bring artists, us as a platform, to this real outside world. Let's say, it's art. It's real, very much. It's the outside world. And the image behind it's actually an image of a tool that we develop for Innovation Catalyst to be able to bring this art thinking, design thinking, and machine thinking in the process of innovation. No, and we designed the innovation process. We divided it into 10 layers, and we are leading then participants first to come to the common ground, which is super necessary, that they forget their situated knowledge that brought them behind the table. And once we are on the same page, we start to open up and we facilitate this creative process that goes far beyond the challenge solving. But the point is that once we are going somewhere that we all believe we would need to come eventually once, we perform a reverse engineering back to these days so that they can, for example, an entrepreneur can make an informed decision tomorrow, no? Because they are informed where they would like to come. And this is what is very important. No? So this is what we are doing right now.
Thank you very much. It's really, we're getting into the point. And well, now it's time for Tere Badia. Tere Badia holds a bachelor's degree in art history from the University of Barcelona and a master's degree in information and knowledge society from the Interdisciplinary Institute at Open University of Catalonia. From 2010 until 2017, Tere Badia was director of Hangar, Center for Artistic Production and Research in Barcelona, which is next to here, pretty close to here. From 2018 until 2022, she served as a Secretary General at Culture Action Europe in Brussels. Since December 2024, she is the director of HacTe, the Hub for Art, Science and Technologies in Barcelona. So now it's your time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pau. It's working? Can you hear me? Okay. Because I tend to speak very. So thank you. So well, for HacTe is a very, very recent association. It's a very new organization, so we cannot show long experience in the as organization in this panel. So it's always has been a pleasure to work with all the colleagues here because they really have really a strong background here in how to bring art, science, technologies, and innovation together. As Pau was saying, HacTe stands for the hub of Barcelona's hub of art, science, and technology, and it was founded as a spin-off of the Open University of Catalunya. It was here that started in these rooms that started HacTe, and since 2023, mid-2023, this is an independent organization. And I'd like to think about HacTe as I know it's a very strange device, because at the very end, we started from the first point as a very complex organization. So I was telling yesterday, so we are 11 organizations in one association, and they're not little. So there are 3 universities, of course, the Open University of Catalunya, the Pompeu Fabra University, which is also here, the Polytechnic University, and ENIA, which is another school of design. We have scientific research centers, one at the Institute of Photonics, and the BIST, which is the Barcelona Institute also for science and technology. And we have also in our association 2 organizations that represent the business, so entrepreneurs on one side, and the big business and economic organism here in Barcelona, which is Fira Barcelona, which is the MES, the one who organized the Mobile Congress and so on. So as you can see, they are very big institutions. All of them, so all these sectors that we're talking about are represented in the organization, and we are not talking to people, but to organizations and big ones, which makes this device a very interesting one. So I like to see HacTe a bit as a device. as a tool, as a device, because it's a very, very good position to learn from the different members. So of course, we were talking yesterday about diverse languages, diverse necessities, diverse characteristics, and so on. So we are learning. So we are sort of the space, a device that is moving around these different approaches and tries to adapt to them. So this is our main goal, to activate sort of connections between these diverse communities. So we are crossing constantly these disciplinary boundaries. That is very clear, but we are crossing it not in a vectorial way. So you know this path of production. So first you do research, then you do production, then to study, also the education, research, production, so communication, and so on. But we are following another logic. We try to follow another logic because all these organizations, they are in different positions. So we are following the logic of a matrix, sort of. It's not like following the links of the value chain that we know, but just moving from one link, from one position to the other one, which is education on one side, but then production, and then maybe artistic research or experimentation, and then probably the prototypes for the industry. So for us, HacTe is also a critical tool, a sort of this relational object that moves very fast. So we don't have a form. That's why there's no picture here. So it's a bit of an iconoclast supposition. So we don't have a form. It's very difficult to explain something that adapts very fast to the diverse devices and the diverse people that are institutions that are connected in HacTe. So, and we try to identify ourselves as a radical interdisciplinary organization. And I'm saying radical because rather than multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary, I like to use the word indisciplinary. Because indiscipline also has this idea, this background of a political will of going out of your space, your normal space, and acting together to create another space. So this indisciplinarity for me, it's a very, very important characteristic of this. We operate strategically, so it's not that we don't have a strategy. So we have the aim, and we are also interlocutors with at various political levels. So we work a lot with institutions here, public institutions, local institutions, and also institutions in the rest of Spain. And it doesn't come from this HacTe, that doesn't come from out of the blue completely. So we have here many of these experiences. We have a very strong ecosystem here, and very diverse and very, let's say, distributed. And that's why we need to move, to have a sort of a structure that moves and adapts very, very fast. So we have, we have many centers, research centers that are working with artists. It's ICFO, it's BEAST, but it's also the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, it's the Institute of Marine Sciences, it's the Biomedical Research Park, the IFI, which is the Institute of Physics. So this is something that it's happening in Barcelona, that many artistic, scientific centers wants to talk and wants to work with artists. Some of them, they are even contracting artists as researchers. So in this sense, the ecosystem here in Barcelona and in Catalunya is very mature. So we have a long tradition. So we started also in Angar a long time ago with this artistic research, transdisciplinary research, and this was long time ago. So we are inspired mostly because of the idea of to be an institution rather than an institution. So what's the difference between institution and institution? An institution normally has this inside, you are inside, and then there is an outside. So you are an institution, and it's a form. It's like a sponge that has this form, that remembers the form of an institution. But that's why we are trying to be this institution. And institution are proposed normally as surface, as interfaces. In everyone, on which everyone can eventually assemble or not. So institutions have so they're materially not that fixed as institutions, and the temporality is also very strange. So sometimes you have a very, very strong action, sometimes you almost disappear in the activities of the other members of the organization. So that's why we are trying to, and I think it's something that it's important, and I think, Jurij, you were telling this or talking about this yesterday, this trying to challenge these hegemonic, structures of institutions. So I think we are now working in a field that needs to be challenged in terms of the collaborators. So we need to really move from our sectors and our disciplines to be able to just confront of what's happening. So I'm gonna leave it.
Okay, no, it's perfect because we can talk about the specific role of the STARTS regional centers. I mean, the specific role that STARTS regional centers have, and the complexities that are involved in that. Now, what does that mean, and how does that operate? In which sense we can learn from the complexities that are involved in that role, because and the role that structurally contributes to create the ecosystem, or to enhance, to develop the ecosystem that we are all involved in that. No? So maybe we will start this question because we have some time to for that. And Christophe, what would you think about that? If you can do another round with
for GLUON, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, the biggest challenge we have, but also the opportunity, is Europe starts. It's really important for GLUON that we have European funding, because this is a very avant-garde thinking that I don't always find in Brussels or in Belgium in general. This intersectorial working, transversal working, for all of us it looks evident, but if you talk to politicians, it's really difficult. And what I miss a little bit is people or politicians, or ways to convince politicians of the importance of what we are doing, and a very structural way to do that. We were discussing, for example, with Innoviris to create a club of people, or a group of people that discuss internationally and that they can learn from each other, like innovation agencies or other, maybe even entrepreneurs, that systems to learn from each other. And I think this is what GLUON, or as a regional STARTS center, misses.
That's great. Veronika, what do you think about that particular question we were addressing?
I also very much agree that I think it requires at this stage, after so many years also of practicing, also a momentum and era of connecting and exchanging knowledge. I think it would be definitely super interesting to come up with a system of connecting the hubs, connecting the regional centers, really for a structured knowledge exchange process where we can also then make the knowledge we have, I guess all of us in this room, accessible for the broader public out there, for other sectors. Because what I do see is we get hundreds of requests on the models we use, on the experiences we gained, the failures we actually went through painfully. But of course, we come very much from a field, and this is us, Electronica too, where we love much more the doing than keeping track, sharing the knowledge, also systematically providing that into a bigger picture. And this is definitely also a chance, again, I see with structurally connecting the regional centers to the academic world. I think that would be for sure a necessary step also to link the cultural-driven regional centers more to universities in Europe. I'm not sure, and I'm still puzzled where the regional centers should be really anchored, which institutions or not institutions, which formalities they can take. I don't have an answer there yet at all. But at the same time, I think answering this question should not keep us from building at least these networks and trying on a more informal basis also to exchange across the networks. And this is not rocket science. I mean, we do this in other networks as well, I have to say, to exchange more structurally between cities, learn also on the specific challenges. We, for example, in Upper Austria focus very much with our regional centers on circular economy, on plastics, on alternatives to the plastic industry. So those are challenges which are dominantly represented also in other regions in Europe, and in particular here forming alliances, also working with other European regional alliances is something which should be possible. Of course, it requires also some structural funding, not project-driven funding, but infrastructural funding.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big question over there. And Rosanna, what do you think about this in your context?
Yes. So as I said before, we had to work parallelly to create, to try to build this ecosystem that could allow this kind of projects to unfold and blooming. And for us, this meant mainly to find collaborations, partners on the territory. So industrial partners, research partners, and also to involve institutions. But about that, we got from this design thinking event we organized with the Regione Lombardia, we got some interesting insights about how to create this kind of ecosystem. So first was about promoting a culture of interdisciplinary collaboration to inform, so maybe to bring good examples, best practices, to allow stakeholders to understand the potentiality of this kind of collaboration to boost innovation of the territory that we know, as we know, could be an innovation that is an economic innovation with the industry, could be social innovation that involves maybe institution, because we know that art-science collaboration could be addressed to several aims, and they should be shaped accordingly. And so the idea was, okay, we need this culture. This is also a culture of trust between the different stakeholders, different actors that are in this ground, and also creating a culture in terms of academy. So also to work in the education, so to bring this kind of STEM, interdisciplinary collaboration, etc. And another interesting insight was to map on the territory possible resources that could be enhanced in this direction. For example, Regione Lombardia, we understood there is an open innovation platform that Regione Lombardia is managing. Okay, we discovered we can use the open innovation platform that is already there to promote this kind of collaboration, or the technological district as well. Or maybe there are no territory because, for example, the AI and Robotics Lab of Polytechnic of Milano is already collaborating with design, bringing designers and artists. So to put the lights on this kind of possible resources and to enhance them in this direction. And then, of course, to try to also to shape possible policies, new programs at regional level that can also support financially this kind of collaboration, because the topic then is always about budget and money. How could we support this kind of projects, being aware that we don't know where they will bring us. So yes, and but the topic of work on this culture, the culture of interdisciplinary collaboration, was a key.
Thank you. And Jurij, in your case, how do is applied in the context of Slovenia and with your long experience?
Well, for us, STARTS played really an important role. We started to think about this knowledge transfer and experiences transfer and all these ideas into the outer world. Even before, we were heavily inspired, for example, with one Dutch mechanism. It was called Biodesign and Art Award, BAT. And they have the similar approach as STARTS, but they were functioning way before. It's not functioning anymore. I was explained why. Probably it is good it's not existing anymore. But it's when we waited for STARTS, we had this case in mind, no? And I have a specific story which can illustrate how important it is that we keep together and that we create a strong network, no? An institution that it's functioning as a connecting tissue. No? When I wanted to explain our idea of how to push and go out of our ivory tower to the Ministry of Culture, nobody wanted to listen. No? So at that moment, I went to another ministry that was responsible for the innovation and for cohesion funding and so. And I managed to bring two people to our institution, and I was showing them a PowerPoint with what we can do and what we would like to convey and so. And in the middle of presentation, they stood up and they said, not interested, and they went away. No, it happened never before and never after. But I was insisting, you know, and when Ars Electronica in 2017 was sending one newsletter of their collaboration with Mercedes and how they will present their collaboration with the robotic car that will come out on the streets in 27. I just forwarded this info letter to these two guys, no? Saying, come and see this at Ars Electronica, you will understand what I would like to say at our presentation. And in fact, they came. They came, and Ars Electronica, knowing, you know, these cases, they meet all three directors, the festival, the Ars Electronica, the Future Lab. They meet these people. It was an audit that was quite rude and super direct. But after that, you know, 2 months after, this ministry organized a bus of politicians and entrepreneurs to come back to Ars Electronica and to see what this is all about. And from that on, we were able to get to enter into this cohesion funds scheme, and we got substantial funding to establish our institution called Cons Platform. That was funded now for 4 years, and we're expecting to be funded now in next period as well, where we were able actually to strengthen what was started with STARTS. No, for example, in STARTS it's very difficult to buy equipment, but we could buy it with this funding. So we were able to create this critical infrastructure where, you know, we could really come up with something.
Okay, that's interesting how this project enables also other types of relationships that enables also infrastructures, and then that enables ecosystems, and then so this is all connected. That's really so interesting here. So what about you, Tere, in your context?
No, I agree with all what you have said. Maybe in our case it could be more natural that everyone is like disposed, because from the very beginning all these institutions and sectors were willing to create this association. But they are diverse communities with completely diverse goals, and the only thing that brings them together is the intention, so the willingness of going out and working together. But even so, I think this is one of the difficulties, because even among our members who are from the cultural sector, which have 3 members, so it's Hangar, Center of Research and Production, which has a very, very, very critical approach on technologies and science, and they're even experimenting with open science, diverse, so really subverting the codes of the scientific methods. Works in the same sector as NAF, which I think this here, which is a foundation, a new art foundation that is creating a new infrastructure in the south of Barcelona, in Reus. And they are mainly focused on collecting, showing, and also giving support to the people, institutions, etc., that needs technology. So this is another completely different goal. And then we have Sonar. Sonar, you know, Sonar is a big festival. It's a huge festival, music festival, with a good and very strong section on Sonar+D, which is research, development, and so on. But it's more related with the music sector, which has completely other logics than the visual arts sector. So even among them, and above this willingness of being together, the differences are substantial. This is one challenge, is how to merge this, how to play this moderation task between these sectors. And I think another thing that maybe, so you were talking about the material structures or infrastructures. This is one thing, so we are lucky because we have many diverse members, and we can use also their facilities. But there's another thing also in the material conditions that I want to point out, which is the real working conditions of the diverse sectors. So it's not the same, the working conditions for artists, which are just immersed in sort of mainly a precariousness system, and the precarious system, or scientists, which has a huge pressure to push their career, and sometimes they don't allow themselves to experiment in the time that they need. So, or entrepreneurs who probably they need urgently to bring some product to the market. So these different material conditions, working conditions, is also a challenge that I think we cannot forget. And I think one of the biggest challenges as a part of the funds that we need to promote this is the time. So it's fucking, sorry, it's very, very, it's crazy that we need to give results in less than 1 year or 1 year and a half. So this is absolutely crazy. So you cannot start this sort of context and experimentation networks with this pressure of every 1 or so year and a half, 2 years, giving the results, just results. And it's sometimes they are not results. We're going to present afterwards this the report that we did, and I think this is something that it's going to also come to. And there are many more, but I think with these 3, I'm happy, and with all of yours, because it's.
Perfect. So we're getting into the mechanisms that enable that, which is some of them are really precise. I mean, they are very material, so because it enables everything to work. We still have some time to have a quick second round about the role. You can share some of your experience in the context of the projects that have been. How this connection with interdisciplinarity and the global and societal challenges, how this can connect in some way, and through your experience can help to develop those the global challenges that our society needs in the context of the role that you are enabling through these interdisciplinary projects. No? Let's say we have some questions. So, Christophe, what do you think about that? I know it's a more philosophical question, but also
yes, I always refer. I think Liselter mentioned them yesterday. Jurij Kepes, who founded the Center for Arts and Visual Studies at MIT, and he brought together in a form of a fellowship program people from diverse disciplines around topics that we all share. And it's true, as Tere says, artists, they are a little bit the critical antennae of our society. And that's their main role, I think, and they're very good at that. They're not very solutionist. While you have scientific people that really believe in technologies, because very often it's their core business when they're not from the human sciences, and entrepreneurs that really want to make money out of it. And I think as a cultural institution, you naturally choose the side more of artists. You really want to support them, and that's extremely important. But as GLUON, if you deal with topics around food, it's always interesting to bring very confrontational all these people together to have good discussions on our future. And artists take a particular place in that. I don't want to generalize. I know it's maybe a little bit too rude, but I think that's what we are really confronted with, that dynamics.
Okay, perfect. And does anybody, one of you can relate on that? And before we open to the floor on, we can move from that, or?
Also, what is very important is how we translate what artist does. And my experiences were that we were pretty unsuccessful to translate it to the broader audience. Just making exhibitions, performances, lectures, and so on. So from early 2000, we are investing a lot into education, into kids, into youngsters, and we can see that we are able to shape their understanding of the world and the possibilities differently, because they are not opportunistically brainwashed, because our school system is preparing them to be just a small wheels in a big machine. But this machine is broken. Yeah. And we need to allow them to think differently and to be able to establish their own way of doing things. So we are empowering them to see the world, which is like consistently more and more impermeable. It looks like nothing can be changed, but it can be. And we have tools, technology. It is ideologically interested, as Marshall McLuhan is saying, when we are talking about the black boxes. But if you understand how the black boxes are done, you can do other things that are not empowering capital, but empowering you as individual or your society. So what we do now for more than 10 years is proving that some of them are now working with us. They came from the primary school, 8 years, 9 years old. Now they are working with us. So 10 years in this big scale is nothing. So this is why I'm always pleading for sustainability in funding. You cannot make one project. You have to establish a program. And the program that it's successful, you need to invest in. And investment in younger generation, it's crucial.
Yes, that's crucial. Well, that's in the case, for example, in the case of Ars Electronica, also been creating the whole ecosystem itself through now with the university involved in that to enable that interdisciplinary scenario, creating those hybrid spaces within itself.
Absolutely, and I think the key here is also educating or building our competencies in managing the complexities of the challenges we face today. We see really that, and arts has a play in this, and arts and culture really have the capability of bringing the petitioners on the table, including the civil society, and establishing a dialogue of this where we are not paralyzed, where we are not completely giving up based on these dark clouds above us, but where we actually can find trust again in our capabilities of navigating through this complexity. And of course, this sounds maybe a bit idealistic and too optimistic, but I've seen in the processes also of establishing the summer school, they had super difficult topics like disinformation, also the ethics in biotechnologies, etc. But bringing those different disciplines, those different stakeholders on a table together, allowed them to gain trust also in the collective intelligence, in the power we have as a group to find, first of all, or define the relevant questions, the relevant problems, because you need first to go one step back and see not only from our own perspective what can be a solution, but what are really the problems, all coming from all disciplines, and then ideating also really on joint solutions, also negotiating solutions, which always mean that someone needs to trade off, or you need to also find this modality of finding compromises within solution making. And I think that needs all the practitioners on the table to be really convinced also that these compromises were necessary in order to be able to really come to an implementation. And in recent years, I think that's also something which got a bit lost in society, and we need to have this competence also of having this joint dialogue of different kinds of conflicts again on the tables.
That's it. Okay, that means that's navigating the complexity that we are talking, and the heterogeneity. That means that collaborating with different types of institutions. Like maybe Rosanna or Tere want to add something to that. And
but from my perspective, what is important, okay, of course, to try to understand how to capitalize everything, because okay, we support artists, allowing them to collaborate with scientists, maybe then exhibiting, but then how can we capitalize this process from the artistic perspective, but also from the research perspective? What would be very important is also to evaluate the impact of this collaboration on the scientific research side, because what we see is that when scientists, it's not so easy to convince scientists to work with artists. So it seems that everything is easy, but it's not so easy. But when this happens, it is important. It happens also that they receive a lot of insights, ideas that can impact on the research, on their research. It is important to understand how to capitalize this, to keep promoting this kind of collaboration. And also, of course, it will be interesting also to understand this kind of impact on the industrial side that is even more difficult, as we know. But in this direction, for us, at least during the process, was also important to involve stakeholders during the whole process of the residencies, because in Stars in the City, we organized the LCC group. So we organized this group, this team of 10 people from different, of course, perspectives. So artists, curators, scientists, and also public institutions. It is important not only to define the challenges, the global, but even more important, the local challenges, but also to keep following this project. Because, for example, during this process, Stanza, one of our artists, was supported by a member of the LCC that was a data scientist and AI trainer, and so and also he got other interesting insights to address the artwork in a specific direction, because of course he was asked to work on Milano, but it was from UK, so he needed this kind of support to allow these projects to land on Milano, on the city. So again, it is important to keep creating this context that can support collaboration, because if it is true that this kind of collaboration, that we also need a certain degree of serendipity in art science projects. I don't know, it was this article from Cambridge Press that was talking about serendipity, but we have to create a context that when the serendipity happens, the context is ready to to support this.
Okay, thank you. And Tere, what did your closing after? We have time.
So 7 minutes. No, we have been talking a lot of trust, but I want to also bring mistrust here, because there is also sense of, sometimes a sense of extraction from the diverse places and disciplines. And I think this sense of extraction when you work with artists or scientists, so I'm going to give example. For example, so we did in Angar diverse experiments on how to bring, it's 10 years ago, how to bring artists and scientists together. The first experiment was to bring a scientist in the context of an artistic center. It was nice for the scientists. At the very end, a couple of years after, so later, we started collaborating with the scientific research center that came at some point. But at the beginning, it was completely, so what I am doing here, I don't understand what you're doing, so on. So I don't understand the concept of artistic research that you're trying to propose. Your methods are not clear, your methods are not rigorous, et cetera, et cetera. So this worked, but again, this idea of the hierarchy of knowledge was very, very present. We did the other way around. So we did, okay, if this is not working, then let's move the artist to the scientific center. And it was very nice, but suddenly also the sense of the scientist was, okay, this is an extractive exercise. So you're coming here, you're using my data, and then you're just capitalizing it and bringing it to your place. So it was this idea that we had, how to bring this two knowledge system together in a peer-to-peer relation wasn't working. And then we decided to work under the metaphor of the expedition. So in an expedition, you don't mind. So you have a problem. You have to climb the mountain. So you don't mind who's there. So just you have to climb the mountain. And then this brought a different sense of who's doing what, because at the very end, you're bringing your skills. So it's not you're not valuing, you're not doing a previous evaluation of the skills of the other. So you're not wondering if the knowledge that they are raising is good or bad. So they have the skills and it's going to be useful at some point for this adventure. No? So, and I think this is one of the in terms of mistrust, I think, and trust, I think this is one of the methodologies that we want to implement, because it's a good metaphor just to explain this.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we are all in an expedition, and we have time for just one question, maybe, if after we move to the other panels and the workshops. Does anybody wants to address a question? Yeah, this. Oh, yeah. We're being recorded.
Recorded it, miss. Be careful.
Yeah.
Okay, I try to be careful. But okay, I'm a newbie here, and I was listening to your interventions, to how you say that actually a lot of heterogeneity, but there are interesting points. And what I saw as a first point is a recognition, how people that do your work are recognized by institutions. And then, okay, different strategies, European Union funds, or some sort of strong relationship with the territory, with the industrial environment there, and so on and so forth. But recognition may be easier if branding is stronger. And I have the feeling that the brand here is great when you come very close, but if you step back one or two steps, it's less evident for me. And I was thinking, I'm doing some research on living labs. And if you go on Google Scholar, living labs have hundreds of papers and citations in the thousands. So I wonder whether this brand recognition is still to be done. And maybe my question, all of you are invited to answer if you like, but I think that there is a specific question for the people in the academic world. I know that you do a great, and also this university does a lot on this sense, but maybe other universities should join also to highlight the work that you are doing. I don't know. This was
I think this is very interesting idea, just that we are not there yet, no?
Yeah.
Because we weren't working clearly on the brand and methodology that this brand will guarantee all over the institution, no? The network. But it's a great proposal, and maybe we can think more about that. So that we come up also with an educational program that we can, for example, educate in innovation catalysts, certify them, renew the certificates after a year, and so on. So we can,
I absolutely agree. I think at that point, also having established now a really extensive community of people within the bubble should be a point of course, working also on the brand recognition beyond that. But I think also, to be honest, in our field, that happens most logically not with the classical communication and dissemination activities, but really with community building, with bringing more stakeholders to the STARTS initiatives, with opening up to the existing regional initiatives, innovation initiatives. That should be, in my point of view, our focus. Also opening up to New European Bauhaus, to other initiatives in Europe. We are doing this. I mean, I'm not saying that this is not happening, but I think it pays off more to put or place more effort in this, addressing really the existing hubs, initiatives, networks in Europe, and building the structures to them, than investing really in the classical sense in a brand recognition. I'm not saying that both is important. It's a matter of prioritization at the end.
I think that also branding, well, it's difficult because then you have to put in a very short message, a very complex situation. I believe more in course networking, but so in branding by contamination, let's say so, in convincing the universities, research centers, entrepreneurs, artists, and so on, that if we bring them together, things can happen differently. And I think this is, it's rather by contamination, so it's a sort of more guerrilla branding.
Yeah. Well, I do have, I totally agree with you, yeah, for sure. And I have just one moment before we before we finish the closing. But yes, it's true that the thing is that we are talking about intersectoriality. We're talking something that is in between departments, in between ministries, in between different many spaces, between a research center, cultural center, and a university or an industry. So that in between, it's everywhere and not everywhere. So that's a problem itself, and it needs to be addressed. But many other fields have evolved into that, like, for example, science technology studies or citizen science, for example, and many others have, or even gender studies. They have dealt with that. They have been able to create that transversality in a way that is recognizable and needs to be structured. So there is a lot to be done, and in our case, it's a little bit more complex because there are so many different types of inter-institutions between different types of institutions that, as we were all we were talking, they do share different objectives, different approaches, and different cultures that needs to be addressed. So there's a lot of language that needs to be created in between that enables that. No? So with that, we need to close the
We could create an European network called In Between.
In between. That would be very interesting. And okay, so now we have to close this roundtable, and we have to move to the other tables. There's going to be a workshop, policy workshop, for a closed workshop that for those that are involved in that, let's move to the other side, the other room over there. For those that are going to stay in this room for the next roundtable. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much.